Hey guys, welcome back for another video. We got a good one prepared for you today. What we're going to do is we are going to be looking over all of our NFL games for the week 7 of the 2024 NFL football season, and we'll be focusing on our best bets today. That's predicting the outcome for every single game, who's going to win, lose, but focusing on the betting portion, the money lines, the spreads, and the over-unders. And make sure you hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. If you have any comments about these games or anything else, drop them below and I will respond. Every single week we go over every NFL game. We also do the same thing for every single college football game as well. We break down the money lines, the spreads, the over-unders. If you are a sports fan, if you are a football fan, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well so that you can follow along with us this season. We already have our Thursday night game in the books. We had the Broncos beating the crap out of the Saints, so everything worked according to plan there. We actually got every single money line pick last week. Hopefully we can continue that hot streak into this week, but it is a new week and it has been a crazy NFL football season. But let's get started running through these games. The very first one that we're going to take a look at is one of our Sunday matchups, and it is, of course, our London game. We have at 9:30 a.m. on the NFL Network. We are going to have the 1-5 Patriots playing the 1-5 Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the Jags' second home in London. Looking at this game, you have the Jags coming in. They are the favorites. Right now, the Jags have a 64.9% chance to win this game. They are 6-point favorites. The over-under here is 41.5. Looking at these two squads, you have two teams both trying to get their second win. The Patriots are riding a 5-game losing streak right now. The Jags' only win was to a beat-up Colts team. Can they get that second win right now and deliver the Patriots their second loss? Patriots will be rolling with Drake May. This past weekend, they did bench Jacoby Brissett. Drake May actually showed some promise passing the ball, and that's a big ask for the Patriots. They've been awful moving the ball down the field this season. Right now, they come in, they're averaging 13.8 points a game. Only 134.3 pass yards, 123.2 rushing yards. So they're basically averaging 260 yards per game on offense, and their defense is giving up 23.8. For Jacksonville, they're averaging 18.8. Passing for 203, running for 116.5. It's been their defense that has been atrocious. They've been giving up 29.7 points per game, almost 30 points every single game, but 277 passing yards given up. So there will be opportunities for the Patriots to continue to get better throwing the ball. Right now, leading this game, we are going to have Drake May starting for the Patriots. We have Stevenson at the running back position, closing on 400 yards. They have Douglas for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have playmakers. It's just the offensive line giving Trevor Lawrence time, and someone has to step up big at the running back position. They have Lawrence. They have Bigsby, who has stepped up big. They have Etienne. They have Thomas Jr., who's having a really great season, and they also have Kirk. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars getting their second win, handling the Patriots, winning this one 28-20. I have them covering the spread, and I'm going to go with the over here. Our next matchup's at 1 p.m. on Fox. We have the 3-3 Seattle Seahawks riding a 3-game losing streak right now. They definitely don't want to drop their fourth straight and drop below 500. And they'll be playing the hot 4-2 Atlanta Falcons. Right now, the Falcons have a 56.6% chance to win this game. They are 3-point favorites here. The over-under is 51.5. This is going to be a close game because this is two pretty decent squads. Looking at the quarterbacks, we have Geno Smith closing in on 1,800 yards, 6 touchdowns, 6 picks. Has to cut down on turnovers. He'll be playing Kirk Cousins, closing in on 1,600 yards. He has 9 touchdowns. He has 5 picks. Right now, I said since their week 1 performance, the Falcons are going to get better every single week. Kirk Cousins hadn't played in a long time. He was rusty. New team, new scheme, but every week we know the guy's a gunslinger. He's going to get more and more comfortable in this scheme every week. This is one of the best offensive rosters in all of football. Looking at Seattle, though, very solid team. They average 24.3 points a game. They throw for 276.7. They run for 96.5. Have to get the rushing yards up, but their defense is giving up 25 points a game. For Atlanta, they average 24.8, so both teams are very even on offense. They throw for 254.7. They run for 113.7, and their defense is solid, giving up 22.5 points a game. Seattle has Geno Smith. They have Kenneth Walker III. They have to ride him, run the ball, control the clock. They have DK Metcalf. For Atlanta, they are loaded on offense. Cousins, Robinson, Algiers, Pitts, London, Mooney. So many playmakers, so many people that Kirk Cousins can spread the ball to. Seattle's more than capable of pulling the upset here, winning this game. They should be able to keep it close, but right now the Atlanta offense is rolling. I have that continuing. I have them winning a close one, taking this one 27-26, so not covering the spread, but still going with the over. And the next game we're looking at is going to be at 1 p.m. on Fox. We have the 2-3 Miami Dolphins coming off the bye. They'll be playing the 3-3 Colts. As of right now, Richardson will be back as the starting quarterback. I've said previously, I thought Flacco gives you the better opportunity to win, but they're going to go with Richardson as of right now. Miami, they are the underdogs here. Colts have a 70.8% chance to win this game. They are 3-point favorites. The over-under here is 43.5. For Miami, this is a game to me they easily would have won if they had Tua, but he cannot come back till at least week 8. This is quite possibly the best offensive roster in all football, but it shows just how valuable Tua is, because without him, they have the worst offense in the NFL right now. They come into this game, they're averaging 12 points a game, 185.6 pass yards, 116.8 rushing yards. Solid defensive play, giving up 22.6 for the Colts. They average 23.2. They pass for 219.2. They run for 117.7, and their defense is giving up 23.2. Flacco added a new dimension to the Colts offense because even though the guy's older, he still has his arm. He can still vertically push the ball downfield, which was opening up the offense. I've never been high on Richardson coming out of college, but he does have his legs. So that is another dimension there that he can add to the game. But Jonathan Taylor will not be playing this game as of right now. Looking at the Dolphins, they will be rolling with Huntley, who should be a little better in the scheme. They just signed the guy right off the street, but he should get more comfortable, especially coming off the bye. So there is a potential upset here, but the Dolphins have Achin, Mostert, Hill, Waddle, Berrios, lots of playmakers, but they need a quarterback who can consistently distribute the ball. On the other side, they will be without Taylor, but they still have Pierce. I have the Colts winning a close one here. 24-20. I have them covering the spread, just barely going with the over. But like I said, watch this game because if Huntley's extremely comfortable in this scheme, the Dolphins can pull the upset here because Richardson could have turnovers. That could keep the Fins in this one. This next one is one of the games of the weekend at 1 p.m. on Fox. We're going to have the 4-1 Detroit Lions, who are rolling right now, versus the undefeated, quite possibly the best team in the NFL currently, the 5-0 Minnesota Vikings. Right now, the Vikings are the favorite, 1.5-point favorite. The over-under is 50.5. And the Vikings have a 48.2% chance to win this game. The Lions have a 51.4% chance. But they are the Vegas underdogs. Looking at this matchup, we have two quarterbacks who are currently slinging the ball up and down the field. Goff closing in on 1,400 yards, 8 touchdowns, 4 picks. Sam Darnold coming out of nowhere, filling in for J.J. McCarthy. Right now, he could be the MVP. He is closing in on 1,200 yards. He has 11 touchdowns, 4 picks. They are coming off the bye. They are fully rested. They've been able to game plan for the Dolphins for 2 weeks, and the Dolphins are now without Aiden Hutchinson, who is currently leading the team in sacks. That is a massive loss, but the Lions have an offense right now that is playing extremely well. Goff started out the season really slow, but he's also been getting better, more polished every single week. Right now, they average 30.2. They throw for 258.2. They run for 157.8. So they're averaging over 400 yards on the offensive side. They have a top 3 offense right now, and they have a top 10 defense, only giving up 18.2. But Minnesota's right there with them. They average 27.8. They throw for 207.8. They run for 115.4. And also a top 10 defense, giving up 15.2 points a game. This is two extremely talented teams. For the Lions, they have Goff. They have Montgomery, Gibbs, Williams, St. Brown. Multiple ways that they can beat you. They can run it. They can throw it. They play defense. For Minnesota, they have Darnold. They have Jones. They have Justin Jefferson, quite possibly the best wide receiver in the NFL. This game could go either way. Could come down to the final possession. And I have the Lions pulling the upset here. I have them winning this one 28-24. The spread not being covered, but I'm going with the over. And our next matchup is at 1 p.m. on Fox. The 3-2 Philadelphia Eagles coming off the bye. They'll be playing the 2-4 New York Giants. The Giants have been banged up recently the last few weeks. They were without Singletary. They were without Neighbors. As of right now, though, Neighbors has been cleared to play, so Daniel Jones will be extremely happy. Right now, the Eagles are the favorites, 3-point favorites. The over-under here is 42.5. And you have the Eagles with a 61.1% chance to win this game. This is a rivalry matchup, but this is a game that, due to the Giants' defense, they could seize this one if the Eagles don't come in and play clean football. We know since the second half of last season, they've had a lot of turnover problems. Can they keep this game clean? Right now, they have Hurts closing in on 1,200 yards. He has 6 touchdowns, 4 picks. Daniel Jones closing in on 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks. Right now, the Eagles, they have a really good offensive roster. They have to get their points per game up. They are only averaging 20.8 points per game. They are a very wish-washy team. It's very hard for them to play clean football. Can they keep the turnovers low? They throw for 220.6. They run for 146.2. And their defense is giving up 22.4. For the Giants, they don't have a good offense. Basically, without Neighbors, they cannot consistently move the ball. Daniel Jones is probably not the answer at the quarterback position. They are only averaging 16 points a game, throwing for 213.5, running for 105.8, but a solid defense still, giving up 20.2 points per game. Like I was mentioning, the Eagles have a very good offensive roster. They have Hurts, Saquon Barkley having a great season, Smith, A.J. Brown, multiple weapons, multiple ways they can beat you. But versus this Giants defense, who's going to get a lot of pressure on Hurts, try to bottle him up. Can Hurts keep the game clean? That's the biggest question mark. On the other side, Jones, Singletary, Neighbors. I have the Eagles winning this one, but it's close. Every Giants game is a one-possession game. They take it 23-16. They cover the spread, but I'm going with the under. Our next matchup at 1 p.m. on CBS, the 1-4 Tennessee Titans that only win versus the Miami Dolphins. They'll be playing the 4-2 Buffalo Bills. They were riding a losing streak. They finally won a game this past weekend. They were able to end that. They are back on track. They are in command of their division. Right now, the Bills are the favorites, 8.5-point favorites. That's a very large spread. The over-under here is 40.5. Bills are heavy favorites here, 71.3% chance to win this game. For the Titans, their issue has been moving the ball, getting first down, scoring, and a lot of that centers around Will Levis, just playing a sloppy season. I was never high on him coming out of Kentucky. Right now, he's only closing in on 700 pass yards, 5 touchdowns, 7 picks. Josh Allen closing in on 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. Still has yet to throw an interception this season. We know Josh Allen at heart is a gunslinger, playing a very clean season so far. Hasn't had to put too much on his shoulders so far this season. Props to him. Props to Joe Brady. Right now, Tennessee comes in. They're averaging 19.2. They only throw for 135 yards a game. That's not going to cut it versus the Bills. They have a solid defense. They can move the ball. You have to be able to match them point for point, and they're running for 118.2. So they're averaging less than 260 offensive yards per game. Their defense is giving up 22 points a game. For the Bills, they have one of the most rounded teams. They average 27.5. They throw for 186.3. Like we said, Josh Allen hasn't had to do too much this season, and they're running for 123.3. Their defense is giving up 21 points a game. For Tennessee, for the skill position, they have Levis, they have Pollard, they have Hopkins. For Buffalo, they have Josh Allen, Cook, Shakir, Coleman. They don't have a number one wide receiver. They did not trade for one so far this season, but this is a team that consistently moves the ball. Cook has been a difference maker at the running back position. I have the Bills winning this one easily, taking it 28-17, covering the spread, and I'm going with the over. And then our next matchup we're looking at on CBS at 1 p.m., the 2-4 Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals finally got their second win of the season. Do not be fooled by the record, though. They're obviously a lot better than 2-4. They'll be playing the 1-5 Cleveland Browns. Do not be fooled by the Browns' record. Their issue is all Deshaun Watson. This is not a bad roster. This is a top 10 defense, but they're on the field the whole game because Deshaun Watson could not buy a first down right now. Bengals are the favorite here, 5.5-point favorites. The over-under is 41.5, and they have a 62% chance to win this game. Looking at the matchup, we have Burrow closing in on 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 picks, having a great season. Watson, not so much. He's closing in on 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks, but it's been the way he's been in the pocket. He cannot accurately pass the ball for 5 yards. He has the off-the-field stuff going on, and that keeps creeping up. He's not the player he was when he was traded. Right now, the Bengals, they average 26.2. They throw for 249.7. They run for 100.2, and their defense is giving up 25.3. For the Browns, they have one of the worst offenses. They average 15.8. They pass for only 143 for a quarterback making a lot of money, and they run for 97.2. Their defense is giving up 23.5, but that number is inflated because they're on the field the entire game. Bengals have a lot of playmakers. They have Burrow, they have Brown, Chase, Higgins, multiple guys that Burrow can spread the ball to. They're going to be able to move the ball. They've been able to move the ball on everyone this season. It's, can the Browns defense keep this game close enough to where they can maybe squeak out a close win? They have Watson, Ford, Judy. They did trade Cooper. That's a massive loss. I have the Bengals winning this one, winning it 24-18. I have them covering the spread, and I'm just barely going with the over. And we have another really good one, CBS at 1 p.m. This is a potential playoff caliber game. 2 of our best young quarterbacks dueling things out on CBS 1 p.m. The 5-1 Houston Texans versus the 4-2 Packers. This game is going to be fun. This is Stroud versus Jordan Love. There's going to be points. There's going to be great quarterback play. Could come down to the final possession. Right now, the Packers are the favorites. 2.5-point favorites. The over-under here is 48.5, and the Packers have a 57.9% chance to win this game. This game could come down to that final possession. Stroud closing in on 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 picks, but they're without Collins still. That is a massive loss. Right now, Love closing in on 1,200 yards. He did miss 2 games. He still has 12 touchdowns, 6 picks. Keep those turnovers low. For Houston, they average 23.8. They throw for 256.3. They run for 118.8. And their defense is giving up 22.5 points per game. It's very hard to pass on Houston. They're only giving up 163.2 pass yards per game. That is really good. For the Packers, they average 27 points a game. They have the edge in rushing. So they throw for 233.7, but they're rushing for 167.2 yards per game. That's one of the best rushing teams in the NFL right now. And they also have the edge on defense, giving up 20.2 points per game. But they do give up a lot more pass yards than the Texans. They give up almost 230 every game. For Houston, they have Stroud. They have Mixon, Diggs. They don't have Collins. Like I said, that's a massive loss. Stroud, though, still has guys to be able to spread the ball to. For Green Bay, they have Love. They have Jacobs. They have Reed. This game is going to be a close one. Collins out, and I think the Packers have the edge running the ball and on their defense overall. I have the Packers winning a close one at home, 27-20, covering the spread, and I'm going with the over. But this game is going to be fun. Watch it to the end. This next matchup, CBS at 4:05. We have the 2-4 Las Vegas Raiders, fresh off of trading Adams. Adams is no longer on the Raiders. That's a massive loss, but it has been a few weeks since he's played. They'll be playing the 1-4 LA Rams coming off the bye. For the Rams, obviously, Cooper Kupp is listed as questionable this game. That would be a massive upgrade for them. They're still out Nakua, but Williams, Kupp, that's a good mix for a Stafford right there. Right now, the Rams are the favorites. This spread actually keeps moving up. They are 7-point favorites. The over-under here is 43.5. That's also moved up. And the Rams have a 61.7% chance to win this game. This is an interesting game. So for the Raiders, with and without Adams, Minshew is no longer the starting quarterback. They will be going with O'Connell. That's who they went with last week. I personally think that Minshew gives you the better chance to win because he has the higher upside. He has a low side. Sometimes he has 3 picks, but sometimes he has 3 touchdowns also. And then the Rams have Stafford. He's the Grizzly experienced veteran. He can keep you in any game. He's shown that throughout his career. The guy's a gunslinger. Right now it's closing in on 1,300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. The Raiders, they average 18.2. They throw for 213.8, a awful run game. They only run for 79.5, and their defense is one of the worst in the NFL. This is 2 of the worst defenses in the NFL. They give up 27.2 points a game. The Rams, they average 18.8, very even on offense. They throw for 226.6. They run for 97.4, but they're giving up 27.8. Both teams will have chances to move the ball. Who's able to take advantage of that the most? Right now for the Raiders, they have O'Connell, they have Madison, they have Brock Bowers, who is a legitimate number one weapon out there, but they don't have Adams to stretch the field. For the Rams, Stafford, Williams, who can catch it, run it. They have Atwell, potentially Cooper Kupp. I have the Rams winning this one, 23-17, not covering the spread, going with the under. But like I said, that spread has been moving a lot the last 3 days. The next game we're looking at, 4:05 p.m. on CBS, the 1-5 Carolina Panthers. They were the worst team in the NFL last season. They might not be the worst this season, but they're still very close to it. And they'll be playing the 4-2 Washington Commanders, who are having a great season so far. They have the Rookie of the Year, Jaden Daniels. Right now, Washington, they are heavy favorites here. So heavy that it's kind of worrisome. They're 9.5-point favorites. I hate massive NFL spreads. They're very hard to cover, and the over-under here is 51.5. The Commanders have a 71.7% chance to win this game. They should be able to move the ball at will whenever they want. Right now for the Panthers, they have Dalton. Dalton is good enough to keep a game interesting. He might not win the game, but the guy can at least push the ball down the field. He's a lot better than Bryce Young technically as of right now. He's closing in on 900 yards, 7 touchdowns, 4 picks. Daniels closing in on 1,500 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks, but he also has the running game. Right now, the Panthers average 17.2. They throw for 187.2. They run for 111.3. The worst defense in the NFL, it is bad. They give up 33.8 points per game. The Commanders, like I was saying, will be able to move the ball whenever they need to move the ball. They come in, they average 29.7. That is top 5 in the NFL, and the Panthers still give up more than that. So they should be able to clear that number. They throw for 220.7. They run for 157.3. Very balanced, and their defense is giving up 24.2 points per game. For the Panthers, they have Dalton. Hubbard is having a great season at the running back position because he's their primary weapon and he's still able to get his yards. They have Johnson, Thielen. Right now for the Commanders, they have Daniels. They have Robinson Jr., who should be playing this week, and they have Terry. They have the weapons to be able to push the ball. They can run the ball consistently. I have Washington winning this one 33-20, still covering the massive spread, and I'm going with the over. This next game is a tough one. It's so 50-50 at 4:25 p.m. on Fox. We have the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending champs, 5-0, undefeated, coming off the bye, versus the 3-3 San Francisco 49ers. This is a rematch of our past Super Bowl. Who would have thought that the 49ers would come into this game for the rematch as a 500 team? But they are. But do not sleep on them with that record. Even though they're 3-3, they're the Vegas favorites. They are 2-point favorites. The over-under here is 46.5, and it's the 49ers who have a fan vote 51% chance to win this game. The reason that is due to the Chiefs' offensive issues. They have a great defense. They don't have a bad offense, but they have a lot of turnovers. They've been banged up the whole season. Pacheco, Rice, they've missed a lot of time. Right now, Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL, is closing in on 1,300 yards, 6 touchdowns and 6 picks. He has as many interceptions as touchdowns. But don't let that fool you. We know who Patrick Mahomes is. He's an MVP player whenever he's on the season. If he needs to score, he will go down the field. He will score. You have to ensure you have the ball last in a one-possession game. The 49ers, they have Purdy closing in on 1,700 yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 picks. The 49ers, to me, have the best top-to-bottom NFL roster as a complete team. They've been extremely banged up this season. McCaffrey, Mason got hurt. Kittle got hurt. Debo got hurt. Ayuk got hurt. They've been banged up. They're going to have some other weapons back this game, though. McCaffrey's not back, but they still should have Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, Jennings. The weapons are getting healthier. Mason should be playing this game. Purdy's not having a bad season, and their defense is also getting better every single week. Right now, for the Super Bowl champs, they average 23.6. They throw for 236.8. They run for 117.8. And a solid defense, giving up 17 points a game. Only 88.4 rushing yards per game. They're going to seek to shut down the 49ers run game and force Brock Purdy, again, to have to beat them through the air. The game is going to be on Brock Purdy's shoulders. Can he step up? Can he do what they couldn't in the Super Bowl and seize this game in the fourth quarter? For the 49ers, are averaging 27 points a game. They throw for 262. They run for 158. They run for double what the Chiefs give up. What's going to give there? It's strength on strength, and their defense is giving up 21.7 points a game. Looking at Kansas City, they have Mahomes, Hunt, when healthy. Like I said, people are banged up. Rice, Pacheco, Kelsey's playing. They have Worthy. Worthy could be the difference maker here. He could be the X factor because he can run it and he can catch it, and he's a kind of a cheaper version of Tyreek Hill. He can stretch the ball vertically down the field. We haven't seen him hit on too many deep passes, but we know that game plan is there. For the 49ers, like I said, the best offensive roster when they're healthy. Purdy, Mason, McCaffrey, Jennings, Ayuk, Debo, Kittle. That's when they're all able to play. But do they have enough weapons to beat the Chiefs? I have the 49ers winning this one 27-23, covering the spread. I'm going with the over. This is a game that I don't personally want anything to do with. It's a 50-50 matchup. The Chiefs could easily win this one again, but at some point they have to lose their first game. This is a very solid team, but the Chiefs are coming off the bye, so it's definitely one that you want to keep your eye on. Our next matchup is going to be a defensively focused game that's probably going to be decided in the trenches at 8:20 p.m. on NBC. Our final Sunday night game, we have the 2-4 New York Jets. They need a win bad. They've been firing coaches. Salah's gone. They have to get a win here. They don't want to drop to 2-5. They've traded for Devontae Adams. He's probably going to see the field limited this Sunday. That's a big addition, though. They can play defense. Defense travels. And they're heading to defensively focused Pittsburgh Steelers, sitting at 4-2. Right now, the Jets, the Steelers were the favorites. Now that's flipped. The Jets are now 2-point favorites. The over-under here is 38.5. And the Jets have a 48.9% chance to win this game. Steelers a 50.7. When the Steelers were the favorites, I had them losing this game because they were going to be starting Russell Wilson as of right now. That's the rumor, Russell Wilson starting. I've said the whole season, I don't care if Russell Wilson's healthy. I'm rolling with Justin Fields. To me, he gives you the higher ceiling. He's gotten your team to a 4-2 record. The guy can throw it. He can run it. The last time we saw Russell Wilson, he did not look good. I don't see any reason to see him on the field, but allegedly he will be starting this game. He hasn't played in a while, and he's going to be playing a Jets defense that gets after it, gets pressure, and they suffocate the pocket. Right now, Rodgers closing in on 1,400 yards. He has 9 touchdowns, 5 picks. They have that defense. Looking at the team stats here, the Jets, they average 18.8. They throw for 217.2. They run for 87.2. Have to get those numbers up. But a top 10 defense giving up 18 points a game. For Pittsburgh, they average 20.7. They run for 131.5. They pass for 166.8. And their defense, a top 5 defense, giving up 14.3 points a game. They are going to test Rodgers. For the Jets, they have Rodgers, they have Hall, Wilson. Now they've added Adams in here. That could be a difference maker. He's comfortable with Rodgers. They've played together for a long time, but this is technically a new scheme for him. How quickly can he pick things up? How much time will he see on the field this weekend? For the Steelers, they have Harris, they have Pickens. I have the Jets winning this one. They are due to get a win. Every game has been close. They have the defense to travel on the road to match the Steelers' defense. They have the edge at quarterback. Now they have the edge at wide receiver with the addition of Adams. I have the Jets winning a very physical, very close game through the fourth quarter, taking this one 23-17. That's covering the spread, and that's just barely going with the over. And this next match is going to be a really fun one. We're moving on to our 2 Monday night games. Monday at 8:15 on ESPN. The 4-2 Baltimore Ravens playing the 4-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both teams trying to get their 5th win. Both teams have offenses that are lighting it up right now. Right now, the Ravens are the favorite. 3.5-point favorite. The over-under here is 49.5, and they have a 60.2% chance to win this game. This game could go either way. It is 2 teams that are lighting it up on offense right now. The Buccaneers, don't sleep on them. They're coming off of a 50-burger this past weekend. They can move the ball. They can definitely pass the ball. Right now, the Ravens, they have Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP, potentially getting his 3rd this year. He's having a great season so far. He's closing in on 600 yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 picks. He can also rush the ball. And then you have Baker Mayfield having a great season, following up his comeback player of the year season last year. He's closing in on 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 picks. Right now, Baltimore, they average 29.5. They throw for 248.3. They run for 205.3. Probably the most balanced offense in the NFL. They had the number one rushing attack last season. They added Derrick Henry to that. They have the number one rushing attack this season by far, and their defense is getting better every week. They average 24.8. Right now, they give up 276 passing yards per game. That's their weakness, is their secondary, but they only give up 59 rush yards per game. You can throw on them, but you definitely cannot run on them. Right now, the Buccaneers, they're right with them points-wise. They average 29.7. They throw for 230.3. They run for 136.8, but you're not going to be able to run on the Ravens. Just give up on that. There's no play action here. You have to beat them through the air. But the Buccaneers do have the weapons for that, and their defense gives up 23.2. For the Ravens, this is a stacked offensive roster. They have Lamar Jackson. They have Derrick Henry closing in on 800 yards right now, having his best season so far. They have Zay Flowers. They have Andrews. They have Likely. For Tampa Bay, they have Mayfield, Irving, Godwins, and Evans. They have a experienced veteran wide receiver core. They can keep this game close. This is going to be a fun game. This also could come down to a final possession. There's going to be points here. I have the Ravens taking this one in the fourth quarter, winning it 28-23, covering the spread, and going with the over. But either way, whoever wins this game, this is probably going to be the most fun matchup of the weekend. And our final game of Week 7, Monday at 9 p.m. on ESPN, we have the 3-2 LA Chargers versus the 2-4 Arizona Cardinals. Right now, the Chargers slight favorites here, 2-point favorites. The over-under is 43.5, and the Cardinals are the fan favorite. They have a 55.1% chance to win this game. Cardinals are very Jekyll Hyde. They play awful, then the next week they always have a good performance. They played bad the last game, so they're due to have a good game this week. Could win this game, could be a potential upset game right now. Right now, the Chargers come in. Herbert, he's closing in on 900 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's basically done nothing this season, but it's not because of lack of performance. He hasn't had to. This is a hardball team. They run the ball, play special teams, play solid defense, but at least if you're a Chargers fan, you know if you need a score, Justin Herbert could go for 350 any game, but I do want to see more out of the passing game because you have a legitimate top 10 quarterback here. Let him sling the ball just with some play action to kind of change the game plan, but they're going to run the ball a lot. They have a great run game, and for the Cardinals, they have Murray closing in on 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks, and he can also get first downs with his legs. Right now, the Chargers average 18.2. They throw for 153.2. They run for 127.8. A top 5 defense giving up 13.2 points per game. For the Cardinals, they average 22.2. They throw for 187. They run for 145. Their defense, one of the worst, giving up 27.2 points per game. The Chargers, they have Herbert. They have J.K. Dobbins, who's going to be the workhorse for this game. And they have Ladd McConkey there. But like I was saying, I just want to see you open up the floodgates a little bit for Justin Herbert. Let him spread the ball out. I don't feel the need to have to run so much. When you have a weapon that can also push the ball, get you more points, use Herbert. But either way, the run game's perfectly fine. For the Cardinals, they have Murray, Connor. Marvin Harrison Jr. has had concussion issues and might not even play this Sunday. That could be a massive missing piece. I have the Chargers and their defense making the difference here, winning this one 24-20, covering the spread, just barely going with the over. But the Cardinals are due for a good performance. You don't want to forget about that. So that's our breakdown. That's our best bets for all of our NFL Week 7 matchups. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments about anything, drop it below and I will respond. Thank you.